Hello everyone, welcome back to the Lord of the Rings Online. This is Gnarlo here. Say hello to everyone, Gnarlo. Good boy. Alright, it has been a while. When last we left off, we were down here in Dol Amroth. Way down here in Gondor. Right over here. So we had visited Western Gondor. And we had just gotten here into Dol Amroth. We were on Book 1, Chapter 10 of, I think, Volume 4? Is that the one that we're in? Epic Volume 4? Yes, The Road to Gondor, Book 1. And we had been sent down here to the library. Let's pull up the history of it. Show history. You conveyed Orthaniel's warning about the heirs of Castamir and the one that they call the Scourge. Lothniel frowns, deep in thought. I would take Dorthanel's warning to heart, but I do not know a great deal about the people of Umbar or their leaders. Every child of Gondor knows the tale of Castamir, the usurper, of course. But his is a name from long ago, and I thought his line was ended. I do not know. My father has always said the finest way to combat a new foe is to learn as much of his history and temper as you can before facing him on the battlefield. I think this is wisdom. To that end, I ask you to go to the libraries of Dol Amroth and speak to Pethabir, the master of the archives. He was my tutor when I was just a child, and he believed I neglected my studies. This will not change his mind, but now I need information, and he will know where to find it. Learn from him everything you can about the Corsairs and their masters. Perhaps in doing so, you will discover something we can use to our advantage. Wow, odd that we're back in a story here about the Corsair. We have to learn about the Corsairs who are coming up to working for Sauron and coming up to fight Gondor. When the Corsairs of Umbar is the latest expansion that dropped about a month or two ago, you know? Or perhaps longer. It's been a while. We have given Lothriel the message from Dorthaneth, and she wants to prepare for the coming of the heirs of Castamir by acquiring as much knowledge about them as possible. Pethabir is at the libraries of Dol Amroth. There we go. He's given the names of several scholars who may be able to help you. Indeed, indeed. Let's also blow up. Let's blow up the size of the font here because my eyes have not gotten any younger in the almost over a year that I've been since I played this. This last episode went up in November of 22. Poor Gnarlo has been standing here for over almost a year and a half now. He's been standing here in the library having a smoke with Pethabir Bashimi here. I'm sure the poor guy's lungs are not doing very good. Not doing very good at all.
There is much for you to learn here, if you are willing to listen.
Naramil and Noseth have traveled extensively through the kingdom of Gondor and can tell you a great deal about the land and our rich history. Noseth has a particularly keen insight for the lineages of the kings and of the stewards, and of the political intentions of various lords and ladies. Serahil, and we're going to blow that one up. Serahil can tell you a great deal about the Corsairs and the lands from which they hail, Umbar to the south across the bay. Alright, so we need to talk to Naramil and learn about Gondor. Curahil and learn about Umbar, and Noseth and learn about Prince Imrahil and Lothiel. Alright, so let's see if we can find them here in this place. I see a lot of wonderful studies and things. This is our first time in the library here in... Nope, I see a gold ring. Here in Dol Amroth, it is a beautiful library. I would love to have one like this. Let's see. Cook's Guild, Cook's Leader, Cook's Guild. Don't see any rings there. Let's see. How do we get around to that? Perhaps we come up and then go down? Is that how we're going to get there? Come on, I can see the ring right below us, so I know it's there. Been watching a lot of John Panette lately, and I've been feeling like him. Get out of line! Ring is right below us. We saw it there. Where is it at? I hope y'all been having a good time. I've been having a good time. I've been meaning to get back to LOTRO here, of course. We've been busy. Busy. Doing other things. We've been either in space. That ate a good deal of our time to start when we were busy going around and... See, I'm right above them. How did we get down there? When we were playing Space Engineers, and then since Space Engineers, we've been in space doing dwarven mining. So I haven't abandoned the dwarves. I've been a dwarf. I've been a very productive and busy dwarf here lately. Doing a bunch of more cooking stuff. Good Lord. I've been a very busy dwarf who's been working at... See, I'm right back here again. I know you're there. How do I get in there? What the heck? I've been a busy dwarf who's been mining too greedily and too deep, as we all do. But is there really such a thing as too greedy and too deep? Let's see who this is. This is Sirhael. Sirhael should be able to tell us about Umbar. Hello, Sirhael. Can you talk to us? All right, so we got... Tell me about the kin strife. I think I just met your brother over there. You got the Steve Buscemi face. It is a sad portion of our history and not pleasant to talk about, but in the name of study I will do so. More than 1,000 years ago, the king of Gondor sent his son Valakar to the lands of Rohavian as an ambassador of peace. While in that place, Valakar met and fell in love with a woman of that people who bore him a son, Eldakar. In time, Valakar succeeded to the throne of Gondor. Tensions began to grow in the southern reaches of the kingdom. What would happen when Valakar died and his son came to the throne? Eldakar did not possess purely Númenórean blood, but a lesser proportion due to his northern mother. Eldakar did not sit on the throne for long before much of Gondor erupted in open revolt. There is a lot of racism, shall we say, racism and bigotry in the lands of Middle-earth. A whole bunch of that whole belief in the kings being appointed by God and having the blood of their... must keep the bloodlines pure. You know, there was a story, I think, about muggles, about wizards and muggles that also talked about pure bloodlines and stuff. A relative from the distant branch of the family line seized the throne, Castamir the usurper. The men of Gondor fought amongst themselves. They were dark and bloody days. Castamir was slain when, after 10 years, Eldakar returned at the head of an army. Castamir's sons fled to Umbar, where they became the first of the Corsairs. Those indeed. All right. Are the Corsairs to be feared? The Corsairs of Umbar have harried our coastline for many years, but the fighting force of Gondor has always been sufficient to drive them away. It may be different now, for our attention must be split between the Corsair raiders from the south and the shadow that moves towards Minas Tirith from the east. It may. Who are the heirs of Castamir? I do not think any true heirs of Castamir still live. That was long ago, and the soldiers of Gondor could conceive of no mercy for the sons of Castamir. I am certain they are all slain. I guess we will find out one day when we get down there. I am troubled by this title, however, for it means whoever is using it knows how to manipulate the Corsairs. Evoking the name of Castamir in this way is a highly effective means of mobilizing the enemies of Gondor. There's more behind this increase in Corsair activity than there's been in the past. These heirs of Castamir may not be the heirs in truth, but they certainly intend to continue the legacy of trouble he began so long ago. No doubt.
Across the Bay of Belfalas, the harbor of Umbar provides the mooring for many ships.
South of Dol Amroth, across the Bay of Balfalas, the city of Umbar stands. Its large harbor provides the mooring for many great ships, and a mighty fortress was built there. It was an important port for the Númenóreans, but when strife split the loyalties of that people, Umbar became a contested land. It remained so throughout history, at times taken by Gondor, and at others occupied black Númenóreans and the Haradrim allies. One of the most devastating losses of Umbar occurred following the kin strife, one of Gondor's darkest periods. The sons of Castamir the Usurper, chief architect of the kin strife, escaped from Gondor and named themselves Corsairs of Umbar. Castamir's sons were all slain, but their legacy remains. The Corsairs have caused much hardship among the coastline over the years. Alright, so we've finished that part. Now, let's find Naramil and Noseth, and see if perhaps they will be a little bit easier to find, where their stairways are. Okay, well, we know traveling over this way, and up there we didn't find any rings, so let's keep going. Oh, there we go. I was following that arrow, but the arrow was still hooked on him, wasn't it? Let's see, anything back this way, other than tons and tons of studies and all. Yes, we see another gold ring in front of us. That's Naramil. Naramil should be able to teach us about Gondor.
I will tell you what I can about our kingdom. There is much of which I might speak.
I will tell you what time allows about our kingdom, but that is a rich history, and there's much about which I may speak. The kingdom was first established in the wake of disaster. The land of Númenor fell beneath the waves. Only fast ships could save the household of Elendil and bring them to these shores. High King Elendil's sons ruled the kingdom together, but when the Dark Powers returned to Middle-earth, Elendil and his sons Isildur and Anarion were slain. The line continued by way of Anarion's son through many years, until Eanor, the last king of Gondor, disappeared into Minas Morgul and was never seen again. For more than 900 years, rule of the kingdom is passed down through the hereditary line of the ruling stewards, charged with maintaining the peace and welfare of Gondor, until the line of kings is restored. Few believe that can ever happen. Any claimant would need to prove an unbroken bloodline, a task that seems insurmountable to this poor scholar. I bet we know one. Tell me about the geography of Gondor. There is great variety in the lands of Gondor, from the wooded slopes of Blackroot Vale to the coastal cliffs of Belfalas. Many folk till the fields of Lamadon and work the fertile ground through which flow the 5 streams, further to the east in Lebanon. The land of Anarion lands beyond the White Mountains, and at their eastern foot stands Minas Tirith, greatest city of Gondor and tower of God, from which the dark lands to the east are watched. Prince Imrahil has gone there with many hundreds of his finest warriors, for war is certain to be joined in the coming weeks. If that is so, war will come first to Ithilien, the lands beyond the river Anduin, on the very border of the Black Land. Most likely. What can you tell me about the stewards? Ever since the line of kings came to an end with the disappearance of Eanor, Gondor has been ruled by the hereditary line of stewards. The steward that sits now in Minas Tirith is Denethor II, a wise man much like his own father, who was steward before him. Some 40 years ago, Denethor married Findulus, the sister of Prince Imrahil, and she bore him 2 sons. They are noble men, but they come rarely to Dol Amroth, and I have not seen them in many years. Findulius loved Denethor, but some say that the tower of stone in which she dwelled was not to her liking, and she died after a dozen years, far from the seaside cliff she loved. Denethor dotes now on his sons. The eldest, Boromir, will become steward when Denethor dies. He is betrothed to Lothoriel of Dol Amroth, a match some find troubling. I see. This is stuff I never knew about Boromir and them. I never knew Boromir was engaged. I heard Lothario disapproved of the match. It is not my place to speak of it. Perhaps Noseth will wish to tell you more. She has more interest in such things than I. Very well. Thank you very much, my lady. Now let's find where this other ring is. Let's click off of her so that we're no longer... Oh, there we go. Up. You seem to be up. So we will go up to see if we can find you. I know this trick. I just did it on the other side of this hall. Oh, I miss being here, Middle-earth. I have. Noseth, I've come to speak to you. I love your hat there, my lady. Lovely hat.
Imrahil is well loved by the people, but his daughter Lothiriel is untested and unproven.
Lord Imrahil is the Prince of Dol Amroth, and he is the wise ruler of the city and its surrounding lands. He has gone to Minas Tirith with many soldiers, but he has left some of his swan knights to serve his daughter Lothiriel, who now rules the city during his absence. Imrahil is well loved by the people of Belfalis, but his daughter is untested and unproven. Númenórean tradition allows women to rule, but not all folk in Gondor remember such things, so they're not only racist, they're sexist too. I have heard some dissatisfaction that she was chosen to rule the city while her father is away. But Lothiriel is loyal and complies with her father's wishes despite her young age and a tendency toward recklessness. She recently disagreed with an arrangement of marriage, but it is my understanding she will go through with the proposed match, despite her feelings, or the feelings of a great many of her people. Some things are not meant to be, and I fear there will be a reckoning for it. Unfortunately, we could tell her that she doesn't have to worry about the betrothal. Tell me about Prince Imrahil. The Prince of Dol Amroth is a good man and loves his daughter Lothiriel, but he has sworn oaths to the steward and could not refuse the call of Gondor. Once the beacons were lit, Imrahil had no choice but to leave for Minas Tirith. Now his daughter must rule in Belfalis, and the war threatens to come here as well. Does seem so. What can you tell me about the Swan Knights? They are Prince Imrahil's personal fighting force and guard, highly skilled and respected. Most of the Swan Knights departed for Minas Tirith with the prince, but he commanded some remain behind in Dol Amroth to protect Lothiriel. It is my understanding that she immediately sent most of them away to scout the land for anything that might pose a threat to her people. One of them I met. What is wrong with Lothiriel's betrothal? I will tell you what I think, but please do not convey my words outside these walls. I do not wish to find myself in trouble for speaking in this way, but here is what I know. I have heard that the steward of Gondor, Denethor II, awoke from his slumber one night with a vivid memory of a dream. What the dream may have been, I never learned, but whatever it was, it compelled him to propose that Imrahil command his daughter Lothiriel to wed the steward's son, Boromir. This rightly gives good folk pause, for Lothiriel and Boromir are first cousins, and such close marriages harken back to the dark days before the fall of Númenor, when kin married kin, and much harm was done. Imrahil disapproves of the notion, and I understand that Boromir does as well, but neither man can refuse the steward his request. Lothiriel has stated that she will consent to the marriage if she must, but the prospect makes her unhappy, and I've heard she's been stealthily leaving the city to seek the advice of the elves. I see. All right, so now we need to go back and talk to Pathabir. I think was the guy we first talked to right up at the front gate of this place, was he not? Is that correct? I think so. Let's see. We can figure out, is it back this way? Lord, this place is almost as large as my library. There we go, Pathabir. Not nearly as finely decorated as mine is. Really? Should there be a library with a roof open to the sky? Really? I mean, I don't see any books in the direct danger of getting rained on, but damn, people. Sometimes there is a little bit of common sense should override beauty, no matter how beautiful those tree columns are.
I see that Noseth spoke to you of Lothariel's betrothal. I should have counseled restraint.
Ah, did my scholars help you learn anything of use, Gnarlo? It seems to me that the Corsairs are a dangerous threat, and Lothario will be wise to recall the Swan Knight she sent from the city. I hope the information of my scholars proves helpful to you and to Lothario, and awakens her to the uncertain future that awaits. Pethabir notices your expression and sighs. I see that Gnosis spoke to you of Lothario's betrothal to Boromir. I should have counseled her to exercise restraint. None are happy about this match save Denethor, and as he is the ruling steward, there are none willing to speak against his wishes. All I know of it is that he had a dream of some sort that convinced him of the rightness of this match, but I do not know what it could have been. You decide not to tell the earnest archivist that you know Boromir will never wed Lothario, but the young ruler of the city should be told the fate of her intended. All right, people, there we go. We are back in Gondor. I can't promise we'll be doing this too terribly often, but I am going to try to get back to this and do like once a week, because I have truly, truly missed being here. And I want to continue the story. Said I never knew that Boromir had a fiancé. The things that you learn playing this. All right, so there we are. Once again, welcome back. I hope y'all have enjoyed it. It's nice to be here again, and now I get to have the joy and happiness of pulling up my editor and seeing if any of these editing templates still exist for the Lord of the Rings here. I've got to go and find them so that I can get the title screens and everything correct. So we will see you then. Thanks for coming along. Bye-bye.